It's taken more than 100 episodes to finally get to the Beatles, which is noteworthy because they are undoubtedly the greatest rock band ever. That is to say, it is without a doubt that they are the greatest rock band ever. It doesn't matter what you personally think. It doesn't matter what I personally think. In the annals, I guess, of music history, the Beatles are number one. It's not, there's really the only other possible candidate could be the Rolling Stones, but it's got to be the Beatles in terms of success, longevity, staying power, everything. The Beatles are on top. Actually, I would even say the Rolling Stones are a distant second. The Rolling Stones obviously have had a much longer career. They're still making new music now. The Beatles realistically haven't made new music since like 1970 or something. But in terms of the impact on the music world, the Beatles destroy the Rolling Stones. And forget even about Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd or The Who. Don't even think about Kiss, despite my love for Kiss. Come on. But anyway, so I'm going to talk about the Beatles' Help today. Now, I did talk about the Beatles' whole discography with Lilia about, I think that was a year and a half or 2 years ago, maybe. This is my first solo flight talking about the Beatles. Now, and maybe I'm going to repeat something from that episode. I don't know. It was 2 years ago, so I don't remember. But my history with the Beatles, you can put the Beatles with, I talk about Bon Scott era AC/DC, hated it. Led Zeppelin, hated them. There's someone else that I'm going to talk about in a future episode that I also hated. And I've come around to a lot of them, including the Beatles. But when I was, a kid or let's say a teenager, I hated the Beatles. I think I didn't hate them as much as Led Zeppelin, but I just thought I hated being bombarded with them. They were on the radio, on classic rock radio all the time. They were in every, and still are, I guess, in every commercial and every TV show, and their music was everywhere, and it just never appealed to me. I was and maybe still am. Well, back then I was a teenage metalhead. Now I'm a 54-year-old metalhead, and the Beatles just didn't appeal to me then. Maybe I didn't hate them, but I just thought, really, this is the band that everybody talks about being the best ever? Now I see it. I see the error of my ways. But I got into the Beatles via, I think some people say via or via, by Lily. If you don't know who Lily is, she's my ex-wife. Now, she's the biggest Beatles fan I know. She's not the biggest Beatles fan in the world, but she is a huge Beatles fan. And she, I guess, maybe it was this, I think this was in 2002, she was, really promoting them. She was, I know it's not a verb, but I'll use this verb. She was propaganding them to me. She came to visit me in Canada in 2002, I think it was, and she bought and brought to me all the Beatles, I think all the Beatles CDs, or some of them anyway, I don't remember. And that was my first time listening to, I knew obviously all their radio hits, which they have more than anybody. I think, are the Rolling Stones even? I mean, if you turn on classic rock radio, I don't know who you'd hear most. I would say the Beatles. And I knew those songs. I really didn't know anything beyond that. I guess maybe some from some bands that I knew that I liked, the metal bands and the rock bands that covered the Beatles. So I knew them from there. But I really knew nothing about the Beatles. So I discovered them from her, and she did buy me Help. I think she bought me Help, A Hard Day's Night, maybe Let It Be. I don't think it was all of them, but a handful of them anyway. And Help really stuck with me. And I really can't say strongly enough, I think, how much I love this album. It's by far my favorite Beatles album. And it's really, I would even say, the only Beatles album that I truly love. I really like Revolver. I like Rubber Soul. I don't really care too much about Let It Be. Sgt. Pepper's I don't care about too much. Hard Day's Night I like. Meet the Beatles, With the Beatles, they're okay. But this Help, it's like I can't say it's a top 10 album ever for me, because I only got into it in 2002. But it's a unbelievable album. I know this album really, really well, which is amazing considering that 20 or 21 years ago, I didn't know anything about it. Even the hits, I knew, Ticket to Ride and the title track Help, but I didn't know, I didn't even know the lyrics to those songs, just the choruses. And now I love, just can't get enough of this album. And it's my inspiration to talk about this today was Lily and I, even though we're not married anymore, we tried to go see Paul McCartney a couple of nights ago in Mexico City. And now going a little bit more of my history with the Beatles. Kind of. I saw Paul McCartney with Lilia in 2017. He played at a big stadium called Estadio Azteca in Mexico City in 2017. And it was pretty cool. I mean, I didn't like it the way I would like a Metallica concert, but it was pretty cool seeing, a living member of the Beatles as well as the Quarrymen. It was pretty cool. And then, so he played here these 2 nights in Mexico City at Foro Sol. And when tickets went on sale for the first night, I logged into Ticketmaster. I was waiting. I was in the virtual line or the virtual queue, the virtual lobby, whatever they call it. And when tickets went on sale you immediately have a spot in line. I hate air quotes, so stupid. You have a spot in the line. I know it was like 13,000 or something like that. And within, I think, about 4 minutes, there was a message that said, please be aware that tickets are essentially sold out, and by the time your turn comes, it's possible or even likely that you won't get tickets. And I think, now I wasn't sitting there the whole time watching because I knew, but I came back and looked at my laptop screen every couple of minutes and there was nothing. And then it was like an hour later and I did get through, and yeah, of course the tickets were long gone. They immediately announced the second show. Same thing for the second show. I logged in, I was all ready, I was in the virtual line or a lobby or whatever it was, and immediately when tickets went on sale, I was like number 6,000 in line or something, and I think this time it took about 10 minutes, and I got them pop up again saying that tickets are in high demand and sold out, and I had every hope and belief that they would add a third show, because Taylor Swift played 3 nights at the same stadium. You think if Taylor Swift can play 3 nights, Paul McCartney can play 3 nights. Metallica's played at this stadium 3 nights. A couple of times they've had a couple of 3-night runs there. Iron Maiden hasn't played there twice. Iron Maiden has played there. Rolling Stones played there twice. So Paul McCartney is gonna add a third show, and they never did. Now I only realized why a couple of nights ago was because there's a big festival at that same stadium called Corona Capital. Paul McCartney was Tuesday, Thursday. Corona Capital was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I guess even if they wanted to add a third show, they couldn't have added it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I guess it's too much for Paul McCartney. He's 81 or 82 years old. I guess he can't do 3 shows in a row, even in the same city. High altitude. I guess maybe that's why. Mexico City is like 2,200 meters above sea level. So I went down there with my friend Miguel. If you saw the last video that I uploaded a couple days ago, I went there with Miguel. He came from California, from LA, to see Corona Capital. He gave me some great records. Thank you again, Miguel, which I talked about the other day in the last video. And I told him Paul McCartney was playing, and I wanted to at least go to try to find a ticket, and if at the very least to do the bootleg merch tour, which I did. If you like that kind of stuff, you can find that video. The link is not in the description below. You can find it. Be resourceful. And so we went to get tickets. Tickets were nowhere to be found for Paul McCartney the other day. Even, I think 30 minutes into the after the show started, we were still kind of looking for tickets. We saw a guy, I guess he was American, he was speaking English. We were talking to him, we were standing right beside him. A guy, was selling tickets, and this American guy, offered him $300 US for 1 ticket. The guy wanted 400. The American guy, who cares if he's American? It shouldn't matter. He offered him 300 US. The guy said no. 30 minutes into the show, and this guy turned down $300 US to go see Paul McCartney. And we couldn't find anything for less than, like 400. So we had to miss Paul McCartney, but it's still cool, seeing the merch and everything. And I can't imagine when we saw him in 2017, he was 74, 75, whatever, 76 years old. And I thought, and I guess Lilia thought too, we talked about it, we said there's no way he's going to come. We were so happy that we saw Paul McCartney for the last time. And who would know that 6 years later he's going to come back again? Now we're thinking the same thing. He's not going to come back in 3 or 4 years. So I probably missed my chance to see his last show in Mexico City. But at least I did see him. And Ringo Starr, by the way, Ringo Starr is coming in June. I know this is a long time, but I will get to, and I've got it here. If you don't believe me, there it is. I will get to this momentarily. Ringo Starr just announced 2 shows here, not until June next year. They announced 1, and it sold out. Of course, they announced another one, I think the same day. They're in June. He's not playing an arena. He's playing a really nice big auditorium, maybe 8,000 people. Very nice place. Tickets went on sale yesterday. I forgot, but I had tickets, or Lily and I had tickets to go see him last year. He was supposed to play in October 2022 last year. He got COVID a couple of weeks before, canceled one or two shows that were supposed to be that week, didn't cancel Mexico City. He resumed the tour like a week later, and then like a few days after that, he got COVID for a second time in a week. So he canceled the rest of the tour, including Mexico City. So I missed my chance to see Ringo Starr, but I will see him. His tickets are not in as high demand as Paul McCartney, but I expect that I will see Ringo Starr in June, early June, I think it is. And I did get a little prop here, a little bonus at the Paul McCartney merch things the other day. In addition to my video, I did buy something. I bought this. This is kind of cool, no? This this apple, and it's I don't know. I think it's like a hard styrofoam or maybe plastic or something, but kind of cool. This was 50 pesos. Kind of cool, and I got it because my a friend of mine called Adriana. She had gone to see Paul McCartney on Tuesday, his first show, and I was texting with her, and when I told her I was going to see the merch for the second show, I said, "Come, let's go." And she said she was going to Guadalajara, but then she asked me if I could buy her. She said, "I saw this apple on Tuesday, but she couldn't buy it because I think they wouldn't let her take it in, or she didn't want to buy it because she thought they wouldn't let her take it in. So she asked me if I could buy it for her, and then they were gone by the time the concert was over. She couldn't find them. So I got one for her, and I liked it so much that I bought a little apple for myself. The first, I think, piece of Beatles merchandise that I've ever bought. I've never bought a Beatles shirt or a Beatles anything, just some music and this record. So there's my my Beatles apple that I've got. So there it is. Now to get to this record track by track, this is the first Beatles record that I've ever bought. I have all their albums on CDs, as I mentioned a couple years ago. This is the first record I have. I'm not sure what to expect inside in the sleeve, but I love this record, man. There's so much. And you know, when I listen to this record, especially, and maybe some other stuff too, it's very easy to see why the Beatles are the Beatles and why they're so highly, regarded and esteemed. They have some really, really cool stuff on there. If you listen with headphones, I listen to most of my music with headphones. You hear some really, really cool stuff in there. This album maybe has more and better backing vocals than any album in the history of recorded music. Almost every song has these kind of, and they're not just backing vocals like two tracks. Paul McCartney singing the same track in a high and low or something like that. These are these backing vocals that kind of overlap each other. I'll try to mention that as I go through the tracks. I think about half the songs have that backing vocals. Just amazing. God, the Beatles deserve all the credit that they have. I think that should go without saying. There is, I think, a pretty large group of people who say the Beatles are overrated. Well, you're stupid. You're really dumb if you think the Beatles are overrated. You don't like them, maybe. But I don't even know what that means, overrated and underrated. But the Beatles are incredible. And Help is the most incredible of them all. And I'm going to get to it right now. So here it is. And there it is. And there's the back. And there's the hype sticker. Nice hype sticker. A lot of words on, a lot of text. The Beatles Help with exclamation point. And I like exclamation points. Help! Remastered, the stereo remastered album on heavyweight 180 gram vinyl. Side 1, kind of rare that they list all the songs on the hype sticker. Side 2, 14 songs on this album, but I think it's probably only about 35 minutes. It says this album has been prepared using the 2009 digital remasters, which had been created from George Martin's CD mixes made in 1986. So there it is. In stereo. All right. So I'm gonna open it now and go through it track by track. This, this is I listened to this today, and we did listen to this driving to the concert the other night. Listen to all the Beatles. I think this is the only full album that I have in my digital collection. I have all their CDs, and we listened to this and all of their the other random Beatles songs that I have on my phone. And I was leading to something with that. What was it going to be? Yeah, it made me realize that, it made me realize that this is the oldest record that I have. This is from 1965. I guess other than that, the first Led Zeppelin album is 1969. I guess that's the oldest, or this is the oldest. Isn't that interesting? All right, so I'll take this off. Oops, I didn't quite get it up to the top, nor the bottom. I cut the Slayer when I did a Slayer Show No Mercy record last week or a couple of weeks ago. I was a little bit careless with the knife, and I cut a little bit the jacket, and I don't want to repeat my error. All right, I got it here. All right, this is a little bit glossy. I prefer matte. I know it's a small thing, but I think they just look better in matte. But anyway, this is nice and glossy and shiny. This has got kind of some, not liner notes, but credits on the back. Help. Obviously, these are all written except for the two covers, which are Act Naturally and Dizzy Miss Lizzy. Lennon McCartney. And it's got the who sang what. Help is John. That's another interesting thing about the Beatles. I was talking about this with Lilia at some time. With Kiss, Paul and Gene. Kiss is my favorite band. I've been listening to them since 1976. And tell me any Kiss song, and immediately, within a split second, before the song title is even out of your filthy mouth, I can tell you if it's a Gene or a Paul song, or the odd Ace or Peter song. I don't really know the Beatles. I know when they're singing, I know who sings it. But if you ask me who sings, Taxman or Eleanor Rigby, I don't know. I would maybe have to kind of sing it in my head. If I heard them, I could. So this is John plus Paul and George. Then I'll do that as I go through the track by track. What's inside? Ooh, devastating. Come on, Beatles. Look at this. This sucks. That's the best they can do? I take back what I said about the Beatles being the greatest band ever. Give me something. God, how many times do I have to say it? Put some lyrics, text, liner notes, something about the recording of the album. Don't give me just a paper sleeve. Yeah, and there's the record, the Parlophone label. There it is. Quite boring. All right, so yeah, the first track is the title track, and a good example of the aforementioned backing vocals. Help, I need somebody, help, not just anybody, help. I need someone. When I was younger, so much younger than before. When I was younger, so much younger than before. I'm screwing it up already. I never needed anybody's help in any. God, how can I do this so often? I know these lyrics cold. When I was young, so much younger than today, I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now these days are gone. I'm not so self-assured. I'm not so self-assured. Now I've changed my mind and opened up the door. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down, and I do appreciate you being around. Help me get my feet back off the ground, help. And now my life has changed in oh so many ways. My independence seems to vanish in the haze. Now I can't really, first of all, I can't sing. So, to do the backing vocals of this, when I was younger, and then I can't do it, but just incredible. And sometimes when I'm singing along with these songs, I sometimes don't know which to sing, the main vocal or the backing vocal. And I should say also, this album has my favorite Beatles song ever. I'll point out when I get to it. And it's pretty clear too. I love a lot of Beatles songs. As clear as this is my favorite album, there's a song on here that it's clearly my favorite Beatles song. Next is The Night Before. This is Paul with George and John backing vocals. John plays the electric piano. We said our goodbye. This is another one with the backing vocals. We said our goodbye. And then it kind of, overlaps it. The night before, love was in our eyes. The night before. Love that song too. 3, You've Got to Hide Your Love Away. This is John Lennon singing this one. I was aware of this one from well, I guess a little bit later after I got this from Eddie Vedder. I was a big Pearl Jam fan even from before Pearl Jam when they were Mother Love Bone. And then I kind of had a falling out with them through the mid to late 90s into the 2000s. Then I rediscovered them in 2003. Saw them 6 times on that tour in Canada, United States, and Mexico. 3 shows in Mexico. And Eddie Vedder often, he covered "You've Got to Hide Your Love Away" just as a solo, just him and his guitar, and he had the harmonica. Yeah, harmonica. He did that like as a pre-show before the opening band. Eddie Vedder would go out and do sometimes he did a couple of different songs at different shows, but he did "You've Got to Hide Your Love Away," "Here I Stand," head in hand, "Turn My Back to the Wall," "Turn My Back to the Wall." God, why can't I remember the lyrics? But yeah, that's a great one too. Any of these songs, aside from the one that is my favorite, any of these 3 so far could be my favorite. Next is "I Need You." This is a George Harrison song. He sings the lead vocal, and then of course John and Paul sing the backing. Dun, 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 dun. "You don't realize how much I need you, love you all the time and never leave you." Four amazing songs so far. Any of them could be the favorite. Another Girl, "For I Have Got down, another girl." This is another, the backing vocals that overlap one another. "You're gonna lose that girl." Same thing. Yes, you're gonna lose that girl. You're gonna lose that girl. If you don't take her out tonight, she's gonna change her mind. She's gonna change her mind. Sorry for the bad singing, but it's infectious to sing Beatles songs. And I don't know why this album stands out to me so much, because I maybe don't really like their earlier kind of real happy stuff and their later kind of weird stuff or more hippie stuff. But for me, this was right in the groove. I think this was around their 4th or 5th album, maybe. And they have a weird discography too, because they had a UK, I guess they had UK releases and then US releases or international releases. Some songs appeared on, depending on which release, they appeared on albums twice, or they appeared on one album in one country or another album in another country. Lily knows all that. I don't know anything about that. 7, "Ticket to Ride." I love the drums on this song. I don't know if there are too many Beatles songs that you can say that you love the drums, but "Ticket to Ride," it has great drumming. Every song on side 1 is just amazing, but still not the best. Now, if you turned it over, you would come to side 2, and I love this song. This is the first song on side 2 is "Act Naturally." This is Ringo Starr singing this. It's a cover song. I have no idea who did the original. I guess some old-time rock and roll guy. I've never heard the original, but it's a great, fun song. I know Ringo is kind of, he's like the Peter Criss of the Beatles, not just because he's the drummer, but he's kind of the one that I think not too many people, would list as their favorite. And I think really there's only maybe 2 bands that you could have a favorite member of. Nobody has a favorite member of, I don't know, Blind Melon or something, right? But you gotta have a favorite member of Kiss and the Beatles. And I think most people would put Ringo at number 4 and probably Peter Criss at number 4. Also, they're gonna put me in the movies. They're gonna make a big star out of me. They make a film about a man who's sad and lonely, and all I gotta do is act naturally. Very fun, kind of an old rock and roll type song. Love it. Next is "It's Only Love and That Is All." That's now it's got the credits here. John Lennon sings that one. God, this album is fucking awesome. Next one is "You Like Me Too Much and I Like You." A little bit of a daring song here. This is kind of this is George Harrison again, kind of calling out, I guess, his girlfriend, saying, "You'll never leave me because you like me too much." "Tell Me What You See." Look into your eyes, girl. Tell me what you see. So catchy. Now, the next one, we've come to my favorite Beatles song out of all of them, and that is "I've Just Seen a Face." And when Paul McCartney, I guess on this current tour, he's doing "I've Just Seen a Face." When I saw him in 2017, I'm pretty sure he did "I've Just Seen a Face." man, this is out of all the Beatles songs, and they have some great ones, including on this album. And Lily doesn't really like this one. She's okay with it, she said, but it's nothing special to her. It's the biggest for me. I just like that, that acoustic guitar intro, and just that the singing is kind of like, machine gun fire, not like Slayer, Raked by Machine Gun Fire, but it's just, it's kind of fast. I've just seen a face. I've just seen a face. I can't forget the time or place where we just met. She's just the girl for me, and I want all the world to see we've met. And then I love how they fill in the last line of each verse with or la da 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 da. I have never known the likes of this. I've been alone and I have missed things and kept out of sight. But other girls were never quite like this. La da 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 da. Fallen, yes I'm fallen, and she keeps calling back again. And then there's a little guitar solo. I have never known the likes. No, I forgot the lyrics. I don't know, but I've just seen a face, and this one reminded me. Now I didn't hear I've just seen a face until whenever Lily gave me this record or the CD in 2002 or 2003, and I was and still am, I guess, to some extent, a huge Goldfinger fan, and this song I know it came out long before Goldfinger probably was even born, but it was new to me. So this one, it just reminded me of Goldfinger. It sounded like a song that Goldfinger would write, or maybe Goldfinger on some of their songs were influenced by I've Just Seen a Face, and I still, every time I listen to it, I hear Goldfinger, and that's probably why I like it so much. Two more. The next one is Yesterday. Probably, I don't know if this is, do the Beatles have one signature song? Is it Hey Jude or Let It Be, or I don't know, I Want to Hold Your Hand? I don't know what the Beatles signature song is. Probably Hey Jude or Let It Be. But I think Yesterday is pretty close. No, Yesterday, what a beautiful song it is. It's got the strings in it. It's ballady, but it's not one of those, happy Beatles songs like, I don't know, like Help or You're Gonna Lose That Girl. It's kind of a little bit melancholy, down, but also, for me anyway, kind of uplifting. It's a nice, beautiful song, but it's also a little bit sad. Amazing song, and I think it's been covered by, I don't know who, I don't know who does a cover, but it seems like a lot of bands cover Yesterday. And then the last song is You Make Me Dizzy, Miss Lizzie. And this is John Lennon singing this one. It's written by, it says Williams, I don't know who, and I've never heard the original version of this either, but great one. Amazing record. I never thought, even as recently as 2002 or 2003, I never thought, or maybe even after that, because maybe it took me a while to get into this after I got it in 2002 or 2003. I never would have thought that I would have at some point been such a fan of any Beatles album, but I am. And I really love it. I could listen to this album anytime. It's so easy to listen to. It's 14 songs, but as I said, it's very short. They're all, I guess this doesn't have the running time of the songs, but I think most of them are in the 2 to 2.5 minute range. No times on the songs here either. But this is a true, people would say this about a lot of Beatles records, and I guess what is of all the Beatles records, what is their signature record? Is it, I guess, the White Album, right? And I do like the White Album. Revolver, White Album, I would say probably White Album, Sgt. Pepper, Let It Be are considered their high watermarks for me. It's this one right here.